to GNAT-TV's dinner party. I'm Juliette Britton from J.J. Hapgood General Store and Eatery, and with us tonight we have guest chef Vanessa Davis. We're kicking off summer this evening with a menu that's inspired from J.J. Hapgood General Store. One of the first items that we're doing tonight is...
we're going to make a quick kimchi, so I'll show you the process from start to finish. It'd be a real quick one, and we won't get the full fermentation of a traditional kimchi, but it'll give you the idea of the flavors, and it'll be nice, light, and refreshing. So I'll get that going because the process of salting takes just a little bit of time. Right here I have a regular head of green cabbage. You could use Napa. If you want to be a little different, purple cabbage would be really great. It would be very colorful and unique. I cut it in half already, took off the outer leaves. So now I'm just going to take the core out. And then once it's that, I will just do a quick rough chops. It doesn't need to be perfect. And then we'll get it in the bowl and get the salt going. Like that. And then slide it right over.
So what vegetables, does this change throughout the season? Do we make kimchi? Does it vary? I mean, right now we're kicking off summer, so.
You can use a few different ingredients into the kimchi. Radishes are a nice addition. Some people have been using kale, especially if you have kale ends. Swiss chard is a very popular one I've been seeing lately. I'm just going to give it a nice toss. Any big pieces, I'm just going to break apart. It's all right if they don't break apart right away. Once as it gets going in the salt process, it'll be easier to pull the leaves apart. I'm just going to do a little more. Don't be afraid to put too much in. Once as we get going a little later, we're going to rinse the salt off.
Do you have a preference of the type of salt you like to use for this?
I personally like to use kosher salt. It's a nice neutral salt. You can use sea salt. I would not recommend iodized salt because that can be really salty and very, very overpowering. So the next step we will do, we're going to make the paste for the kimchi. It's to be most of these ingredients that you see right here. There's a lot of
So what are our ingredients here?
Right here we have some minced onion. I put it in our food processor just to get it really nice and blended up. You can do it by hand or with a knife. We have some nicely minced garlic, ginger that I put into a little bit of lemon juice. Very unique ingredient. Right here we have is gochujang paste, which is a fermented red hot chili pepper. They add a little bit of glutinous rice to it to make it that kind of really sticky paste, and it gives a little sweetness from the rice. I'm just going to start with a little dollop of the gochujang. It is spicy, so just start with a little bit of amount, and then we'll adjust the heat later. You can add sugar to it. Honey is a good substitute for sugar. I'm going to add like a tablespoon of the minced ginger. Actually, take that spoon back. I'm going to add a good heap of the minced onion. I'll do 3 of them. We're going to do about a tablespoon of minced garlic. We'll add in some soy sauce. This is not the gluten-free soy sauce. Tamari is gluten-free, so if you're looking to stay away from gluten, tamari is a good substitute. It's the same color. It's just not brewed with the wheat like the natural process. We're going to add in some rice wine vinegar. We're going to add that whole amount. That's about 2 tablespoons. Our kimchi, we're going to keep it vegan. Traditional kimchi is used with anchovy or shrimp paste. In this instance, I want to make it so that vegetarians, could have it. Because on our menu at Hapgood, we make a veggie burger, and that's a great addition to a vegetarian meal.
So we're using,
we're using the soy sauce and pineapple juice. The pineapple juice has a good acidity content that will help break down the enzymes in the cabbage. This is a little bit of sugar. I'm just going to do about 2 teaspoons, about a teaspoon of salt. Right here I have is Aleppo pepper. This is usually a spice used in Mediterranean, mostly Turkey, but it's very popular in the United States right now. And then right here we have is the gochujang powder, which is basically the chilies that were dried and then pulverized with a few different ingredients. There's some onion powder in there, garlic powder, a little bit of vinegar powder. And you can find that into a specialty store also. We're going to set this aside, let that marinate a little bit, get the flavors into the garlic, ginger, and the onions. And then we'll get our veggies ready for the kimchi also. The garlic greens we just got in locally from Bromley Farm. They're very delicious. They're not as pungent as a clove of garlic, but not as strong as a scallion, so it's like the nice balance of the in-between flavors. So I'm just gonna bunch them up a little bit and give them a little bit of a chop. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. This would be just a nice side dish.
Sort of a coarse chop, really.
A coarse chop,
Yeah, like the cabbage was.
Kimchi is a great dish where you have scraps. Like I said, you could use kale stems, Swiss chard stems, any vegetable that you could probably think of, you could do in a form of kimchi. Just another rough chop on the scallions here. It's all right if they mix in together because it's all going to go in the same dish. Okay. All right. The next we have is our carrot and radishes.
A couple of radishes?
Yes.
All right.
The carrots I'm going to do on the cheese grater. You can do small, big. I like the larger setting on the cheese grater. Just gives it a unique looking texture. Just be very careful on cheese graters, they do bite. Yeah, so be wary of your thumbs. And once it gets at an angle, I switch it, and then it helps it keep going. And I'm just going to flatten my hand a little bit, so that way I don't get my finger in there. I don't think you guys really want that. All right, we'll set this off aside.
Okay.
And then, all right, radishes, I'm just using your regular red radish. You could use watermelon radishes. There's black radishes, or you could use the daikon radish, which is a very nice one to use also. And what I have here is a Japanese mandolin. I'm going to shave the radishes nice and thin, but they're going to stay nice and round. If you have one of these, again, be very careful of your fingers. They are very sharp. I'm just going to keep my hand flat and just go until where I feel uncomfortable. And about right there, and I'll start on the next radish.
Yoder Farm actually sends us some very nice radishes in the summertime.
They do.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm not quite here yet, but
No,
a little late on the rainy season.
Right.
So these are our vegetables. Just add them right in.
Okay. Beautiful.
Nice colors
Yeah.
already.
I imagine, you know, as we said, we like to use a lot of different vegetables, but even the peas, when they start coming out, would be pretty nice in this.
The peas would be really nice. So the next item I'm going to work on here is I'm going to do a little bit of a buttermilk brine for our fried chicken. So
the fried chicken is great. It's been something that, Vanessa, don't you think? I mean, it's probably our most popular, one of our most popular menu items. We can, you know, we use it as a dinner. We serve it as a lunch entree. So very, very useful.
So right here I have just some regular buttermilk. You could use local. Hood's a really good brand. We use that quite often. I'm just going to fill the bowl up enough to where the chicken can soak in there. We're just going to give it a little bath. Right here I have some sriracha. It's going to add a little bit of spice to it, a little bit of color. So it'll give it a slight red hue. It'd be really nice. All right, I'm just gonna stir it up, incorporate. Excellent.
Misty Knoll chicken. We've done some work ahead of time to this, so Vanessa, you could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so at the store, what we do is once we get our thighs in, we make a brine, which is just water, salt, sugar. We add a little bit of peppercorns, coriander, some of the Aleppo pepper, and just a touch of vinegar, and we'll let it sit for 24 hours in the brine. This will help keep the moisture in the thigh when we go to fry it. This is one of our most popular items. Once as we get going through our summer season, we'll probably be making chicken
in our sleep.
Yeah, 4 or 5 times a week. So pretty much every day we'll be making this. All right, so I just got it right here, nice and coated, and we're just gonna let it sit for a few minutes. So now what I'm going to do is our next item that we have for you tonight is a watermelon, arugula, and feta salad. First I'm going to make the dressing, and tonight we're going to do a white balsamic and olive oil vinaigrette. White balsamic, I like it. It has a little sweetness to it. You know, you could use regular balsamic if you want something a little darker. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball this a little bit here. Probably about, we're gonna do the whole bottle. It's a small bottle, so it'd be about a half a cup of white vinegar. For when you're making vinaigrettes, the ratio for vinegar to oil, they say it's 3 to 1. So 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar. So that way you don't have too much vinegar or too much oil, because you want that right balance of the two. This is going to be the whole bottle also.
So this dish is really nice. It starts to make its debut on our menu this time of year. As Vanessa's making this dressing, what we love about it is the sweet and sour sort of. So the sweetness of the watermelon and the sour of the dressing, and then the saltiness of the feta cheese that's going to be in it as well.
Yeah, we won't add too much salt to the dressing, because as you said, the feta's got a saltiness to it, and you don't want to overpower the salad with too much salt, and it just won't be pleasant to the taste. All right, so that looks good right there.
Excellent.
All right, we'll add in some of the garlic. That's about a tablespoon. And then the salt, please.
And the salt. Oops, you got sugar there. So
don't want any more sugar.
No more sugar.
No more sugar. I'm just going to do just a little pinch, not too much. And we're going to let this sit until we're ready to make the salad. And now that the chicken has sat in the buttermilk a little bit, we're going to fry it now. So we've preheated this. We're going to fry the chicken at 350. It's very important to cook the chicken all the way through to 165 degrees. So it will take about 8 minutes for this piece of chicken that we have. Before we put it in the fryer, I have a little flour spice mixture we're going to dip it in. This is just your regular all-purpose flour. Yeah. It's about a cup, just enough to get a really good coating on it. Right here I have some paprika. This will give it a little color to the flour. We're going to do the whole thing. That is about 2 teaspoons. Garlic powder, we'll do a teaspoon of that. And then we have also some onion powder. We'll do another teaspoon of that. If you want a little more garlicky or oniony, you can absolutely add more if you like. And then the last item that we'll add is baking powder. The baking powder will help fluff up the flour and give it that nice, really crispy looking exterior. And we'll do 2 teaspoons of that. And then I'm just gonna give it a quick mix to get all that incorporated. And then we'll give it a little pinch of salt. Each step we try to salt as much as we can, so that way you're getting enough flavors throughout the whole piece of chicken. All right, that looks pretty good there. And then we'll just let it drip just slightly. There'll be a little bit of the peppercorns and coriander on there, and that's quite all right. That will give it a little extra flavor. a little pop of spiciness, a nice little surprise if you get the peppercorn.
So we like to use the thigh meat at Hapgood, and we love the flavor of thigh meat, and also it stays moist. It's really nice, but this can also be done with chicken breasts or, I mean, even bone-in chicken.
All right, so I'm just I keep tossing it just to get into all the nook and crannies of the chicken. And nice and coated. Give it a little shake off there. You can see it's got little bumps and grooves on it, and that will give it some fluffiness. All right. Yeah, that's much better. All right, so we're just going to go let this go for about 8 to 10 minutes. It's kind of a larger chicken thigh. So while that's cooking up, we're going to finish our kimchi. Don't want to forget all these nice vegetables that are caught on the top there. All right. So now we're going to add in the paste that we made earlier. And just pour. We'll start with just about half of it, and then I'll pop a glove on and mix it up really well. Just start with half, because sometimes you don't want too much liquid, or if it's going to be too spicy, you can adjust it that way.
So as Vanessa, as you said, this is a quick version of the kimchi.
This is
the one that we make in-house. Maybe you could talk just a little bit about that process.
Yeah, so the one we make in-house is actually it's a 4-week process. The starting process of it actually takes me 5 hours, not continuously just doing it for 5 hours, but there's a lot of sit time. As we said, we salt the cabbage. In larger batches, we gotta let it sit for at least 2 hours in the salt mix. And then once as we get the salt going, we add in the paste, and then that sits out at room temperature for 3 hours. And then I put it into the walk-in and let it slowly ferment for 4 weeks. Now we're going to assemble the watermelon salad.
So we've done some work.
So what we have here is some watermelon. As you can see, it's in like a ball shape. And what we use is what is called a melon bolly. It has a large or a small end. I use the larger end to give it a nice look. You can simply dice it if you want, or you can do triangles. But for tonight, we wanted to make it nice and special, and we use the ball. Yeah.
I'm picking some mint. I just picked this, actually, in my mom's garden in Peru. I picked it about an hour ago. So
nice and fresh.
I can smell it.
Yeah, it smells great.
Smell-o-vision would do wonders right now.
Yeah. We're also going to add some tomatoes to this. We have some nice heirloom tomatoes. I'm going to use the yellow one. I want a little different color. So what I'll do is I'm just going to cut it in half. And then we'll do half again, and we'll kind of do large triangle shapes. It gives it a little different element, different shapes, and a unique texture. Just take the core out. All right, you don't want to eat that, so set that aside. All right.
Okay, so we will use this bowl for that.
All right. What we'll do is we'll start with the watermelon, the cucumbers, and the tomatoes. And we're going to toss it in the dressing that we made not too long ago.
So we'll toss everything together, right?
Yes.
This nice bowl that we're going to serve with.
You can see the really nice color is starting to happen already. Okay, so I'll take that dressing that we made. All right. Just gonna pour a little bit on. Give it a little bit of a mix. And then the next ingredient we're going to add is the feta, which is right there. Excellent. I'm going to run away. All right. We're using Maplebrook Feta, nice local product. They do a lot of great things. You know, we use a lot of their mozzarella, especially for our wood fire pizzas. The good old margarita pizza.
Yep. Famous.
It is, yeah. All right. Probably should grab a bigger bowl. That's all right.
Perfect.
We're just going to garnish with the arugula. Took the mint, I kind of stacked it on top of each other. I got about 6 leaves there. I'm just going to do a nice little, what they call is kind of like a chiffonade, little strips. And nice big chunks of mince. All right.
Yeah.
It's starting to get nice and flaky, golden brown. We'll just give it another minute or two. Let that side cook up real quick. Yeah. Looks great. It's starting to smell really great also.
Another item here that we are brought along, maybe for our next episode, right?
Yeah,
We can show the technique of how to make the buttermilk biscuit. This is a menu item that, again, is very useful. We use it as breakfast. We use it as a dinner item. Sometimes we make a chicken pot pie with it. But also just as a nice addition to a summer picnic, we brought along some biscuits that we made in-house.
I think our chicken is almost there. All right. So I just got a paper towel to get any of the excess oil off of it. You don't want to eat it too oily. Not pleasant. All right. Bring the plate right over there. Nice and flaky.
I think that we've covered all of that for this dinner party. I think what we were going to work on next was a mocktail, right?
Yeah.
The idea behind the mocktail is something that's refreshing and healthy, sans the alcohol, right?
All right. So welcome back. We have switched spots, and Juliette is going to make us a summery mocktail. So what are you making for us tonight?
Excellent, thank you, Chef. So this evening we're making a mocktail, sort of a sangria style drink, really. And what I have here is some red zinger tea. This could be any sort of tea that you liked, but we really like this one a lot. It has a nice berry flavor. We are going to muddle, so the idea, right, is just really something fresh. We're going to muddle all of our ingredients. So I have mint, strawberry, and lime. And a lot of times with beverages like this, it's as much about the ritual as it is the drink itself. So if you enjoy making cocktails, you would enjoy making a mocktail.
So just the muddling helps to get the flavors throughout the drink.
Yep. So, and what I also did this evening was, in advance of, they spent a couple of hours in the freezer, but these are ice cubes made with lemonade. There's lavender, mint, and strawberry in there. So that adds some nice flavor to your drink. This is a Vermont product, actually. So, of course, we like to use as much local as possible. This is a newly revived historic company, sort of like J.J. Hapgood. Venetian ginger ale. It's got a nice flavor. It doesn't need to be a lot, but just to give it a little zing. So
you're going to give this a light shake just because
just
you
a light shake.
These have a very nice color to them from, did you put strawberries in there?
Strawberries, yes, and the lavender. All right. Well, thank you all very much for joining us.